What up, motherfuckers? It's the hater back again with some more of that AEW news up in this bitch. You understand what I'm saying? Let's just get to it, man. This is like, I don't even know how they're going to defend this. You know, this was just, we'll just get to it in the end, all right? But first, as usual, new subscriber, Ayadix98. Welcome, motherfucker. Welcome to the family. You know what I'm saying? I keep getting these people that, like, I had 344 subscribers. We're going to keep growing, don't get me wrong. But then all of a sudden it was like 339, then 142, then 342, and then it was like 339 again, and then 342, 340, 341. So hopefully we've settled here. Obviously, one of you little twerps that's watching or has watched before comes and subscribes and unsubscribes because I can't explain it otherwise, motherfuckers. The rate is almost like the exact same thing. But anyways, if you haven't subscribed, subscribe today, right now, motherfuckers, and you get a shout out, and you get my friendship, you know what I'm saying? Which is worth billions of dollars, you understand me? So, yeah, let's just get to this show. I mean, there was a lot to talk about here, you know what I mean? There's a lot to talk about. So first up, Dean Ambrose, Jon Moxley comes out, right? And then Ortiz comes out to have a match with him. It appears that what they're going to do is have like a Jon Moxley versus one member of the Inner Circle match every week until the pay-per-view, which I guess is a good way to just push, you know, the pay-per-view. I'd like to see Jericho wrestle here and there, but he wrestled the last few weeks, so I understand, you know. Then Jericho came out with like Jack Swagger, Jake Hager, as some of you may know him, and Sammy Guevara. Remember that? Sammy Guevara, right? As Jericho came out, the neckbeards started singing his song. Now, this was especially cringy today because the camera people, the producer backstage, apparently was instructing the camera people to zoom in on these neckbeards and leg beards. You know what I mean? It was just weird, man. It just showed these weirdos singing the song. Like, you could tell that like they didn't care at all. You know what I mean? Like they're singing, but like they're embarrassed to sing, you know, like as they should be. But maybe they're embarrassed because they're on TV and they don't want people to see them in, you know, their natural leg beard and neck beard habitat. But it is what it is, you know what I'm saying? So there you go. The match started. Moxley obviously won. He hit the dirty deeds, like the ground version, you know, without lifting him. And then afterwards, he got the upper hand on those cucks, and he attacked not Ortiz but Santana with the key to the Ford, right? And he took his eye out, right? And he said, "An eye for an eye." Now, I don't mean to be nitpicky here or anything like that, and I understand that the entire Inner Circle was behind this, but Jericho is the one who attacked his eye, right? So it doesn't really fit an eye for an eye. Like, you take Jericho's eye because he took your eye. Presumably what he's going to do is go after everyone's eye, which is like more than an eye for an eye, which I'm cool with. It's just, don't say an eye for an eye. It's cringy. It's stupid. You know what I'm saying? Next up, we had the Best Friends versus SCU. I mean, like, I feel like we've watched this match 35 times, even though we may have never seen it. I don't even know anymore, you know? Like, the tag teams in AEW are so generic and interchangeable that nothing actually happens, you know? Like, it doesn't feel like anything happens. SCU wins. After the match, the Dark Order comes out, attacks everybody, and tries to get Orange Cassidy to join, right? At that point, JR says, I don't think the Orange Man is going to join them. The Orange Man? He's not Orange, JR. His name is just Orange Cassidy. Like, there's nothing orange about him. You know what I'm saying? Like he's not like Goldust is more orange than him. You understand what I'm saying? That didn't make any sense, you know, the Orange Man. Just when you can't come up with a nice like epithet like that on the spot, just don't do it, guys. Just don't do it, right? So obviously Orange Cassidy says no in a very animated way, and then he gets his ass whooped. At that point, Daniels comes to make the save. Now here's the problem with this, right? The entire Dark Order back off of Daniels. Now, if Matt Hardy is going to AEW, which I highly doubt because he's not an idiot, then he might be the Exalted One, aka the leader of the Dark Order. Otherwise, I'm putting my money on Daniels. As a matter of fact, I thought Daniels was going to just hit like the Angel's wings on Orange Cassidy and just to reveal himself to be the Exalted One. But I guess maybe they're saving that for pay-per-view. I don't know, you know? I didn't really like this because like they beat the shit out of everybody else. I guess they want Daniels to join them, so they didn't beat him up. But it's so dumb because Daniels like really wants to fight them, you know. Now, just real quick, a lot of people like I've seen on like the Matt Hardy videos, everyone's like, "Don't take the money, Matt. Go to AEW." And I'm just thinking to myself, like, are these people insane? Like, do you know what you're even suggesting to him? Don't take the money, right? Matt Hardy is like at the tail end of his career, obviously. You know what I mean? Like, he can still have matches here and there, but he's not gonna like, you know, he's not gonna be a big deal in WWE for sure, and probably not in TNA. I mean, in AEW either. So it's like if you're someone that's gonna retire from something you've been doing for like what 25 years, you know what I mean? Why would you want to retire and have potentially your last match ever be in AEW? You know what I mean? That doesn't make any sense, man. You know. Now it's possible that Matt Hardy go to AEW for a couple of years and then still come back and have like one like last mini run and win the belts with Jeff Hardy one more time or something like that. You know, maybe have a TLC match. I don't know, but like. Just think about what you're suggesting to this man, right? These people are saying like, don't take the money, Matt. Go to AEW so we can like mark out, and so AEW has a chance. As if number one, Matt Hardy is going to be the difference maker. Obviously, he's not. You know what I mean? And two, as if this is like reasonable advice. You know, like, oh, make half the money you would make at the end of your career. You know, every dollar counts, motherfucks, right? Oh, so we could see you wrestle Marco Stunt. You know, like that just doesn't make any sense. It's just stupid, right? But for that reason, I don't think that Matt Hardy's going to take the AEW offer. I think he's going to stay in WWE where he belongs and just be a jobber there. There's nothing wrong with that, by the way. You know, that's another thing. That's another problem with this. Like, people are like, oh, they're treating you like a jobber. Like, I saw some tweet like that Eric Young posted up when like Aleister Black beat him. Apparently, I guess I missed this completely, right? But Aleister Black beat him, and Eric Young was like, he cheated, right, or some shit like that, right? And all the fans were like, you deserve better. You should go to AEW or you won't be a jobber. And I'm just thinking to myself, yo, there's nothing wrong with being a jobber. You know what I mean? Like, it's a business. It's not real life, motherfucks. You know, like wrestlers are not insane. They're not insane people. I mean, maybe some of them are, but wrestlers understand. They're like, all right, I'm here to do a job, you know? That's why it's called a jobber, right? I'm here to do the job and put this other guy over, right? Which is just as important as being the champion. You know, you need jobbers, you need mid-carders, right? In order to have like a successful wrestling federation, you need all these elements. AEW doesn't have these elements. I mean, everyone's a jobber, obviously, but like they don't have like a clear, like, you know, hierarchy, if you will, right? And the hierarchy is always like kind of undermined by the shitty storytelling that AEW does, but more on that in a second, right? So this idea that it's like there's something wrong with being a jobber means nothing. You know what I mean? Like honestly, who has like who is more memorable? Who is going to be remembered in 10 years? Santino Marella, who was a jobber in WWE, or fucking let's think of or Scorpio Sky? Who's going to be remembered more? Santino Marella or Stu Grayson? You know what I mean? Nobody gives a fuck about Stu Grayson. No one ever will give a fuck about Stu Grayson unless he makes it to WWE. So there's nothing wrong with being a jobber. You know, this idea of like being the big fish in the small pond is not better always than being the small fish in the big pond. You know what I mean? There's nothing wrong with that. Like, obviously, in a company where there's people like Undertaker and I mean historically, right? Undertaker, Brock Lesnar, Goldberg, Cena, Shawn Michaels. Obviously, someone like Matt Hardy isn't going to be the champion, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. It's a testament. Like I always say, my favorite wrestler of all time, Christian, never became WWE champion. He was world heavyweight champion, right? But like he was still featured prominently. You know, he was still someone that was taken seriously, and he had like a lot of big time moments in like 2005, 2006 before he went to TNA. Like he had like segments with Vince McMahon, John Cena. He had a great match with John Cena and Jericho. He had a great feud with Jericho before that. You know, so like there's other ways to stand out. You know what I mean? There's a lot of people that have gotten, like, for example, Kofi Kingston, right? Kofi Kingston is someone that, like, I mean, he's like, you know, obviously now he's a former WWE champion, but for a long time he was like a mid-carder, right? Now, Kofi Kingston, like, in my opinion, his career doesn't benefit from being WWE champion. Like, the person himself, the guy who plays Kofi Kingston, that guy might be like, oh, like, you know, they trusted me enough to put the belt on me, you know, and it feels good, I'm sure, right? But it's like his career is not going to be defined by his meaningless world title, right? It's going to be defined by other moments and other like reigns that he had as IC champ, US champ, sometimes as a tag champ with the New Day, things like that, right? Like he would not be less than if he didn't become champion, right? There are a lot of people that are like that, like Rey Mysterio, you know, another one of my favorites, right? If Rey Mysterio didn't become champion ever, right? he would still be Rey Mysterio. You know what I mean? He would still be like the legend that he is. You understand what I'm saying, motherfucks, right? There's more to it than just being champion. You know, like there's a clear hierarchy. There's people like Brock Lesnar who will become champion, right? And then there's Chavo Guerrero, right? Chavo Guerrero is a legendary wrestler. People are going to remember Chavo Guerrero for a lot longer than they're going to remember Pac, right? And Pac will probably eventually have a run with the AEW title. People are going to remember Chavo Guerrero more than they're going to remember Kenny Omega. Now, Kenny Omega is just the flavor of the month. People are going to remember Chavo Guerrero more than remember Nakamura, right? It doesn't matter, right? Being champion doesn't matter. What matters is to be over. This is why I say, for a long time, I say that my favorite Japanese wrestler, and also one of my favorite wrestlers, honestly, is Tajiri, right? Tajiri, even though he never had like the accolades that someone like Nakamura has had, who's like a multiple-time like mid-card champion, he won the Royal Rumble, things of that nature, or even like the hype that he did with Tommy got, right? Tajiri will always be remembered as superior to them. He's more entertaining than them. You understand me? This is what matters, right? But anyways, sorry for that little mini rant. I hope you motherfuckers enjoyed it, right? Next up, we had Dr. Britt Baker versus Riho number 2. All right, it's some Yuka Sakazaki or whatever, right? This girl, like, they said it was her debut match, but I've seen her before. I guess I saw her before, like, Dynamite started, and she was in one of the pay-per-view matches. But this girl is essentially Riho. Like, it's the same exact thing, you know? She has the same exact build, does the same exact moves, and won the match using, like a Riho-type roll-up, right? Britt Baker got pissed off and attacked her. Now, this was kind of cool. I mean, it's kind of stupid because, like, you have to explain where her tooth went, but basically, Britt Baker attacked her, and, like, one of her teeth, quote-unquote, fell out, right? The idea being that, like, she's the dentist and she's like rearranging her teeth, which I think is a little clever because for a long time I kept saying Britt Baker doesn't do any dentist type things, so there's no point in just pointing out that she's a dentist, right? It's ridiculous. It makes no sense. It's kind of like when Kane came out, someone being like, "Oh, he used to play basketball in high school. Who cares?" Now he's a monster who like is a burn victim. You know what I mean? Like stick to the characters, right? So that's what they're doing. They're sticking to the character, and she's doing evil dentist type shit. I like that. Now, of course, the problem with this is this, right? Like, the implications of losing a tooth are not just like you have to spend money to get a fake tooth. The implications are like you were disfigured, right? So unless Yuka Sakazaki is actually missing a tooth, if we ever see her again, right, she will have all her teeth. And the explanation will be that she got her teeth fixed, right? So it's like her damage isn't permanent. Whereas, for example, when like, you know, in like a classic thing where the bad wrestlers shave the head of the good wrestler, right? You know, like the good wrestler then stays bald for a while, right? He transitions into being bald, or vice versa if it's the good wrestler that shaves the bad wrestler. Like Kurt Angle, he was balding. He lost the match to Edge. Obviously, they're not going to cut Edge's hair off, right? They're going to cut Kurt's like already falling hair. And then from that point forward, Kurt Angle's been bald, right? So it serves to make a point, to kind of shift the character a little bit, right? But this is not going to do that, so I didn't like that element of it. Then we had a match that I thought was actually going the right way until they fucked it up, right? It was the Elite, which means, of course, the Young Cucks, Cucky Omega, and Hangman Cuck, right? These guys came out and they fought like the jobber team of Butch and Bottom, along with the Lucha Brothers. Now, I gotta give props where props are due. Lucha Brothers are tight, you know what I mean? Like Phoenix, that guy can do anything, man. That guy's doing like these crazy dives. I like Rey Phoenix. He's a good egg in my book. But anyways, the match happened, and the real highlight of the match here was at some point the Young Bucks were preparing for what appeared to be a double super kick, but Adam Page makes the blind tag, right, and goes for the buckshot lariat on what's it called? On Butch, and he misses, right? Now and then Butch picks him up in a fireman's carry. Now I thought this would have been a great place to end the match, right? Butch hits like some whatever finisher he has, let's say a Death Valley driver, and pins Adam Page while like the Young Bucks are being taken care of by like Pentagon or something, right? Now this would have worked perfectly because they would have sold the idea that Adam Page's hubris of tagging himself in like prematurely when things were under control because he's like a renegade, like a loose cannon type, right? Didn't pan out for him, right? So then the question would become, well, wait a second, right? Like maybe he did the wrong thing. But instead, they extended this match by another 3 minutes, and the same exact thing happened. Like Adam Page eventually got pinned, but he got pinned by what's it called? By Pentagon and Rey Fenix, who did their little package pile driver double foot stomp thing, where afterwards Ray Phoenix just dives to the outside, taking out everybody else. Now, the problem with this setup was that while this was happening, the Young Bucks were on the apron, right? And like one of the bad guys, like Blade, I think, right? Or as we call him here, Bottom, right? He pulls one of the Young Bucks down, right? And then the other Young Buck just stays there. Like he doesn't react to the fact that his brother just got attacked right next to him, right? He just waits until the other guy attacks him too, taking him out of the match. This was just very poorly executed, right? Another thing about this match was there was a point where like whatever, Jeff Hardy Young Buck, like the blonde one, he took like 7 big moves in a row, right? 2 of them were like power bombs from Butch. Now, I understand that wrestling's fake, but and he didn't kick out, he was like saved by someone. But there was a point where Butch did a powerbomb on him and like was on top of his legs, right? Pinning him, right? And then the other Young Buck came to break the pin. Pentagon steps on the back of Butch and does like a destroyer onto the other Young Buck. For some reason, the referee stops counting, right? Like it's this weird thing. Just because like Butch was touched, right, doesn't mean that you have to stop counting, right? He's still being pinned. Now, I guess you can make the argument of like, oh, it's like a double pin, technically, whatever, right? But after that, Butch picks him up and powerbombs him again. And then Kenny Omega makes the save. So now I'm thinking to myself, no way should like this Young Buck be in this match anymore, right? He should be like rolling to the outside and just waiting for the match to end because he just took like 19 moves. In WWE, you have like someone like Braun Strowman, who's like a big guy. Eventually, like, this happens in every Braun Strowman multi-man match. The bad guys like gang up on him and they do like a shield power bomb or like a suplex or something through the announce table. And Braun Strowman is gone for the remainder of the match until the very end when he makes his triumphant return, right? So like just like a simple power bomb through a table, right, takes Braun Strowman out for like 15 minutes of the match. But 17 power bombs on fucking 170-pound Nick Jackson or Matt Jackson, what the fuck his name is, nothing. He just no-sells it like nothing happened. Kenny Omega picks up the pin and this guy acts like he just took like a vertical suplex, gets up, finishes the match, no problem, right? I mean, they lost the match, but you understand what I'm saying. It was just very poorly executed, in my opinion. Like there was potential here because it could have been used to further the story of Hangman Page. If his like renegade nature, right, of him wanting the glory or whatever the fuck it is, right, makes the tag and then immediately gets pinned, right? Not he makes the tag and then like a bunch of other shit happens and then he gets pinned because that could happen in any match, right? Like the guy who is the legal man is gonna get pinned. One of the guys is gonna get pinned, right? Or he's gonna tap out. So the only way they could have done what they should have done is if he misses the buckshot lariat and immediately Butch hits him with like a finishing move and pins him just like that, right? This also puts over Butch, right, as and Butch and Bottom as like a legitimate tag team, which they clearly have no intention of doing. But it would have been nice to see. Then here's where things got really stupid, right? JR says something like, "Oh, what an upset," right? And just like, dude, like, why is it an upset? You know what I mean? Like clearly, like the bad guy team is physically superior. You know what I mean? Like, why is it an upset? I get it, they're the elite, right? But it's like they present them as if it's like Stone Cold, The Rock, Undertaker, and Kurt Angle in one team fighting like Shannon Moore, like Gregory Helms, Evan Courageous, and Jamie Noble, right? So it's like, and it would be as if like Jamie Noble and 3 Count were able to beat Stone Cold, The Rock, Undertaker, and fucking Kurt Angle, right? It's not like that at all, like Adam Page loses all the time. The Young Bucks lose and have lost to to the Lucha Brothers multiple times. So is it this huge deal? They're like, this match should have gone their way. Why should it have gone their way? Are we to believe that everyone else is just so inferior to the elite that every time the elite loses, it's just like this sad moment of like, oh, how could this happen? Like they treat it like it's like, how on Raw, John Cena, when he loses a match at a pay-per-view and he goes away for like 7 months now, he comes out and he cuts like basically a promo where he says like, I have to reevaluate what I'm doing with my life. You know what I mean? Just to excuse the fact that he's going to be gone for like 6 months, right? It's like, it's very weird because it's counter to like what John Cena is. Likewise, this is counter to what like all elite wrestling is supposed to be, right? Where everyone's supposed to be elite, all elite wrestling. But they have the elite who are treated as if they're like the greatest wrestlers of all time. And like, you might as well just hire Dave Meltzer and have him book everything because this is garbage. You understand what I'm saying, motherfuckers? After that, just when you think this segment's over, it's not. They show Pac in the like backstage, and he's goading Kenny Omega to a match again. And he was like, this was supposed to be a contract signing, but you changed it, Kenny. And like Riho's like the real Riho. Well, the real Riho, please stand up, motherfucks. She's backstage with her title. I bet she was gonna get interviewed or something. And basically, long story short, Pac threatens to like attack Riho unless Kenny Omega basically agrees to the match, which I'm pretty sure he agreed to like last week, right? Why does this match even need a contract signing? You know what I mean? There's really no feud. It's basically just Pac being like, I want a match, and then attacking Kenny Omega's friends. Right? Like the two of them have had, as far as I can tell, very little interaction with each other. It's not like every week Pac's been beating Kenny Omega's ass or vice versa, and now they need to have a contract to like build up hype. Like this is a match that I'm pretty sure we saw like week 3 of Dynamite, right? For like with no implications whatsoever, right? And it's the dumbest thing ever, you know. And when Kenny Omega went on his losing streak, he blamed Pac, and he was like, Pac, since I lost to you, shit went downhill. Right? And then he beat Pac, and then Pac's like doing the same thing. You know, he's like, since I lost to you, I haven't been the same, right? And then Kenny Omega says, you got the match, right? Which I'm pretty sure he agreed to a few weeks ago, but whatever. Kenny Omega agrees to the match, which, by the way, what reason does he have not to agree to the match? You know, like, isn't he supposed to be like their guy, like one of their top guys? He shouldn't be afraid of wrestling people. Like, if he was the champion, I could understand, you know? He's like, I'm the champion, like, you're below me, I don't have to, like, fight you, you're a jobber, right? But that's not what happens, you know? So, there we have it, right? Afterwards, Pac says, like, did you think I was going to attack Riho? I'm a bastard, but I'm not a beast. But she is. Nyla Rose comes out, attacks Riho, power bombs her onto the table. Table doesn't break. Nyla Rose says, I'm coming for you, Riho. I'm coming for you next week, or some other bullshit like that. Whatever. I guess it's like a good way to just add some suspense to Riho and Nyla Rose. But can't really get behind it, motherfuckers. Can't really get behind it. Now, we have a new thing that I'm going to start talking about. Every time I do a review of a show, I'm going to introduce a new concept called the Who Gives a Rat's Ass Match of the Night, right? And without further ado, that match was up next. It was Joey Janela versus Kip Sabian in tonight's Who Gives a Rat's Ass Match of the Night, right? This match means nothing to me. It means nothing to anyone. It means nothing to Kip Sabian. It means nothing to Joey Janela. Now, another reason why it means nothing, other than the fact that neither of these guys are interesting, right, is because it's very predictable how it was going to end. You know, obviously Kip Sabian, the one who's getting the push, or I mean the mini push, he's not going to amount to anything. But you know, he's the one that's being pushed over to, Joey Janela. He was going to get the win, usually with some sort of treachery, right? Obviously, Penelope Ford was going to be involved. It's exactly what happened. He rolled them up, right? Joey Janela was all disappointed. I'm just like, dude, why? Like, you have to understand. When I was a kid, there's this video game for PlayStation 1, I think it was. It was called WWE. Sorry. I couldn't hear what Shut up, Siri. My goddamn Apple Watch, motherfucks. So, it was called WWF Attitude, right? It was like a pretty popular game for the PS1. And in that match, in that game, you had these things called grudge matches, right? And in the grudge matches, right, or perhaps it was like Warzone, whatever, one of the PS1 games, right? You had grudge matches, right? And the grudge matches were basically hardcore matches. So the idea of a grudge match is like the point of the match isn't supposed to be like, I'm going to pin you with a roll-up, right? Like if you're Kip Sabian, that makes sense because you don't give a shit. But if you're Joey Janela, like, why is he disappointed that he lost with a roll-up? Like, his motivation should be to beat the shit out of Kip Sabian. And this is a big problem, which we're going to get to in just a few moments. And I didn't think this review was going to be this long, but I still have a lot to talk about, motherfuckers. So that happened. No one gave a rat's ass about that either, motherfucks. Now we have about 20 minutes or so left in the show, right? So I didn't even know, because I was like skipping it around, but I went back on my DVR to see how long this segment lasted. So from the beginning, when Dustin Rhodes started talking, because this all was preceded by Dustin Rhodes having a promo being like, Cody's tougher than you think, right? This whole thing lasted about 21 minutes, right? So MJF and Wardlow come out, right? And it's time for Cody Rhodes to take the 10 lashes. Now, Cody Rhodes comes out in a suit with his regular entrance. That's mistake number one, all right? This isn't the time to be flashy. Now, I didn't know how flashy it was going to get, but this is not the time to be flashy. The correct way to have done this, if anyone there has any creativity, would be Cody Rhodes comes out in like jeans and like a wife beater, right? He's there to get his ass beat, right? He's there to take some lashes, right? You don't come out in a suit to take off your suit like an asshole. That doesn't make any sense, right? So that was mistake number one. Then he comes into the ring. The entire story here is obviously that he cannot attack MJF. He can't retaliate against MJF, etc., etc. He must take the lashes like a dog. Now, during this segment, which was excruciatingly long and boring, I asked myself, I'm like, did we ever explain why MJF is doing all this? Like, all right, he doesn't like Cody, you screwed him out of the title shot, but why is he being like this level of a dick? Now, I understand he's just like supposed to be this like horrible human being, but it's like, it'd be nice if there was like a reason, But that's not that important. Like I can live without a reason, So then Cody comes out and MJF lashes him once. Now, to his credit, Cody Rhodes took these lashes, I'm sure MJF obviously held back, but still, he has to hit him hard enough to make it look like he's doing it full power, right? So Cody Rhodes took these lashes, but here's the problem, motherfuckers. It started out with just the three of them, Wardlow, MJF, and Cody. He takes one lash. Then one ally of Cody Rhodes comes out. Or sorry, first the bad guys came out, like Butch and Bottom came out. Fucking Kip Sabian was there for some reason, Sammy Guevara. They're just watching Cody get beat, right? And then one by one, different allies of Cody Rhodes come out. First is Goldust. He wants to take the lashes for Cody. MJF says that's not how it works, kid. So get out of my ring, right? Then Arn Anderson comes out. Then the Young Bucks come out. So the premise of this was this. One lash, one ally comes out. One lash, one ally comes out, I'm just like, all right, this is stupid. Until the very end, right? When Brandy Rhodes came out. Now, forgive me, but isn't Brandy Rhodes like a retard who wears like a black veil and hangs out with a mental patient and a bunch of other weirdos? Why is she his wife again? That didn't make it. You can't do that, man. You can't break character. That's like one of the big problems with wrestling today. And I'm not talking about the death of kayfabe, but consistency of characters, right? You can't have P.S. Power put it very well. He explained in one of his videos that you can't have someone like Braun Strowman one day be like the monster Braun Strowman who's flipping cars on people, and the next day he's doing like some goofy shit. Like I remember I went to WWE.com and Braun Strowman for like ALS, I guess, or something, he jumped into this like ice lake, right? And I'm like, dude, this is not something that a character like him should be doing, He has all these pictures on WWE.com of him like wearing dresses, doing like the soy boy face, all this stupid shit, you know what I mean? Like he's like best friends with like Alexa Bliss or some other bullshit, No. And the same thing goes with Alexa Bliss and other wrestlers, right? It's like you can't, Finn Balor, he can't be like the Dean. Like imagine if the Fiend, imagine if like in WWE's like 25 Instagram posts of the week or whatever, they have like Bray Wyatt hanging out with his like wife and son. Yeah. No, fam. Like that doesn't make any sense. He's the Fiend. He's like this retard. You can't do that. The Fiend doesn't take pictures, right? Like Undertaker. Like one of the worst things that happened recently was like some of my friends were talking about it and they were saying it's like this great thing, but it was basically the Stone Cold interview with Undertaker. And when I saw it, I'm like, what the fuck? Who the fuck is this guy? I thought it was Goldust, like who came back for like an interview or something. I'm like, I couldn't understand what this fuck this guy was. And then I realized it was the Undertaker. I'm just like, dude, Undertaker, like when you're the dead man, you can't be doing that kind of stuff. You can't be coming back there and doing interviews, like breaking kayfabe after you've held on to kayfabe for like 30 fucking years, you know what I mean? He's like, oh yeah, I really like this part of my career. No, Undertaker isn't aware that he has a career. Undertaker is like a spectral being who just comes out and beats ass and just says rest in peace. That's what he's supposed to be. He's not supposed to be this normal person, who has like feelings and sits down and even understands what a microphone is. You understand what I'm saying? It's like the only character that's like that works is Boogeyman. Remember Boogeyman? He just comes out, eats worms. He doesn't have anything to say. He's a boogeyman, He's like a retard who thinks he's a monster. It's this kind of shit. This kind of like level of thinking that makes me honestly despise AEW because it's like Brandy Rhodes, like either you're gonna be Cody's wife or you're gonna have this little like stable. Because next week when Nightmare Carter comes out, just like I don't give a fuck, dude. Like you're the woman who almost started crying when Cody was getting whipped like a dog by MJF. Now, other things of note, right? Goldust came out and like he was talking shit to MJF. Now, Goldust is a tall man. He's like 6'5", right? MJF has to be at most 5'7", 5'6" probably. Because Goldust was about a foot taller than this motherfucker. And Goldust is not 6'5". I'm sure that's his build height. He's probably like 6'3". But he was like a legit, almost a foot taller than MJF. It was ridiculous, right? I'm just like, even Cody is substantially taller than MJF, This MJF is just like this short dude who thinks he's like this great wrestler, And when MJF came out, his record is 2-0. Right? Like, I mean, like his singles record. He's won like a battle royal here and there, but he's 2-0. You know what I mean? Like he's not this like he's 2-0, man. The company's been on for like 4 months, and he's 2-0. He's had 2 matches. And so why the fuck should I give a shit about this guy? It doesn't make any sense to me at all. But, whatever. It is what it is, right? At a certain point, Wardlow takes the belt, and then he takes a lash. Like, he hits Cody once on behalf of, MJF, right? Now, this became, like, the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen in my life. Because, the focus here, obviously, I mean, it should have been on Cody, surviving it. But you would think that Cody was getting shot with a cannon every time, right? This guy was overselling it like worse than Ziggler. You get hit with a belt once, and it would be like 2 minutes of him like selling, like being hit by the belt and being in pain, right? And all these people are like, you keep going, Cody, keep going. Like you can do it. You only have like 7 more lashes to go, right? And then Brand Rhodes like, you only have 1 more lash. It felt like a reenact. Like in Rocky, like I think Rocky 3, when like Clubber, like in their rematch, Clubber Lang knocks Rocky down. And Rocky's like about to be like knocked out basically, but like while he's on the canvas, he's looking up and he sees like his wife being like, "Come on, Rocky!" And then he sees the faces of all the people that inspire him, right? And then in the end, it's like Mickey. He's like, "Get up, Rock!" It felt like that, but with real people, not apparitions or just mental images. It was so fucking stupid, right? It also took 20 minutes, which to me is like, I don't want to hear any of this kind of bullshit of like, oh, Triple H takes time from like the young guys. Goldberg is taking Dolph Ziggler's spot. Cody Rhodes spent 20 minutes, right, of a 2-hour show on himself, just getting beaten. Now, this was pathetic in so many ways. Number one, he didn't come out looking strong or tough. He came out looking like a bitch for 2 reasons. One, he was, in my opinion, more affected by these things than he should have been, right? He should have no-sold at least a few of them. Like maybe like half, and then like in the last one, like it would have been better if he just no-sold all of them, and in the last one he just collapses, right? You know what I mean? Like he's like, oh fuck, like I couldn't handle it anymore. Like I try to be strong, but that would have been better, right? But instead, the way they did it was like each lash was supposed to feel dramatic, but it just felt drawn out and stupid, right? And then furthermore, as I just said, one reason why he came out looking like a bitch is because like of the way he sold it. Another reason he came out looking like a bitch is because no serious man would let another man whip him when he can just attack the man right there. Now, in the context of the story, why is Cody Rhodes so obsessed with getting a match with MJF? That doesn't even make any sense, right? MJF cost Cody the title, right? Cody's motivation should be to beat the shit out of MJF, right? Like if in their match Cody goes for even one roll-up, right? That already, like, to me, that's like a 0-star match, right? Because it doesn't fit with the narrative of the match, which is Cody wants to hurt MJF. So either you want to hurt him, or you want to pin him. The way that this story has been built up, he should want to hurt him. So the question then becomes, when you have like 19 of your allies outside, right? Why don't you just send 5 of them to hold down Wardlow and just attack MJF right there? Get your revenge right there. Why do you have to wait for a pay-per-view? It doesn't make any sense, man. It's these things that don't make sense. In other contexts, right? Like the heel is always dodging the face. Like back in the Attitude Era, right? There was always like some guy would interfere in a match and then he'd run away in like a limousine, right? So it's like, oh, now this rascal just escaped, right? So you have to wait till next week to see what happens, because he escaped. He's left the arena. In this case, MJF just taunts him. Cody Rhodes can just beat his ass right there, get his revenge at the end. You don't have to have a match with him. Why do you have to pin him? It doesn't matter. It's not like MJF is this big star. Just beat his ass and get it over with. Yeah? So he just pretty much took these lashes for no reason. Also, another inconsistency was because of the way Cody took these lashes, right? Like, it was almost presented as if Cody had to take 11 lashes, he wouldn't make it. He barely made it. So MJF, why didn't he just say, you know what, Cody? My 3 stipulations are, you can't touch me. You have to have a cage match with Wardlow and me as well, let's say, right? And I have to give you 99 lashes. Why stop at 10, right? Cody Rhodes will accept anything at this point. He's such a sellout that he'll accept anything. If MJF said, after I whip you 10 times, I take a shit in your face, Cody would be like, I guess I have to accept this stipulation as well. And then afterwards, Cody was he started to stand up to like show like, grit, and then MJF kicks him in the balls and runs away. Now, the kick in the balls part I did enjoy, only because it's like, if they didn't do that, it would be like even worse. But I honestly can say with confidence, I'm not even exaggerating at this point, motherfuckers. I mean it. I think this was the worst segment in a wrestling show that I've ever seen. You know, people are like, oh, the Katie Vick segment. This was worse, motherfucks. This was so self-important. It just reeked of self-importance, you know? Cody came out with his grandiose entrance as usual, even when it's not appropriate, right? Then he had all these people supporting him, including the fans and about 85% of the roster, right? Supporting him, like treating him like this hero. All he's doing is getting some lashes. You know, they're like, oh, Cody. Like, get the fuck out of here, man. Like, Stone Cold, like, gave Taz, like, 17 lashes. You know, he was like, what did he say? You don't get to do that, you stupid son of a bitch. And he would hit him after every syllable, right? Like, just like that for no reason, right? And Taz was like, whatever. Like, it wasn't a big deal. But the way this was presented was like, oh, like, poor Cody. Like, he brought it upon himself. You know what I mean? Like, any man with any self-respect would be like, you know what? You're a pussy. If you don't want to fight me, I'm coming after you, bitch. Right? I'm not going to play these games where I have to, like, fight Wardlow in a cage and then, like, have you lash me. How about I just beat your ass? You know, how about I just attack you for no reason? Just like you attacked me for no reason, you know? So, all in all, I would say that this was, again, no exaggeration, the worst wrestling segment I've ever seen in my life. Like, there was, like, people are like, oh, AEW's better. They don't have cuckold storylines with Rusev and Lana. And I'm like, that's like infinitely better than this garbage, right? This garbage. It was just atrocious, motherfucks. It was just horrible. I mean, I don't even know what to title this video because I want to title it like AEW review, but it's probably going to be titled like AEW sucks some more or something because this is like the review is secondary to the real problems here, which are their booking, decision-making, and over-reliance on a mid-card jobber named Cody Rhodes. Dude, like, if this happened, like, when when Randy Orton attacked Stephanie McMahon, ironically, with Cody Rhodes and Ted DiBiase and Triple H, right? People were like, oh my God, what a long segment dedicated to Triple H and Stephanie. We don't need to see that. But that was one of the best segments ever because it really told a story. Randy Orton was like this sadistic bastard, right? And they're trying to kind of like get some elements of that, but it doesn't work because at this point, I can guarantee you what's going to happen. At Full Revolution, or whatever the fuck the pay-per-view is called, right? Like what's going to happen is this. The match is going to start. It's going to end up being some sort of no DQ match or maybe a strap match. I don't know, motherfuckers. Or maybe a strap match in a cage, right? Cody's going to get a belt. And either way, he's going to get some sort of strap-like instrument and whip MJF and then hit the crossroads and win. That's what's going to happen, right? Like this set up the match perfectly to be completely predictable because I don't see a scenario where MJF wins unless the feud continues. But you can't really continue this feud just because, like, what's the fucking point? You know, like, at a certain point, it's like, yo, I took the title from you. You know, you attacked me. You weren't able to beat me, so why do I have to keep fighting you until I lose, you know? So, yeah, that's what I got to say about that, motherfucks. The show was not enjoyable. I wished I was watching something else. Honestly, I almost did, but I was just like, yo, I haven't missed an AEW review, like, the night of since, like, my first video ever, which was an AEW review. So I figured, like, you know, let's not start that pattern, you know what I mean? I don't want to, like, make fewer videos or anything like that. I don't plan on it. I plan on growing even further, motherfuckers. I'm thinking of new strategies to grow, motherfuckers. So we'll see. I mean, I'm not really, like, obsessed with growing. Like I always said, 120 was my first goal, right? And honestly, I was like, if in 1 year I have, like, 100, 120 subscribers, I'd consider that a huge victory. So, you know, now the goals have changed, of course, because we've already hit those milestones, motherfucker. But it's just the idea, you know what I mean? Like, the whole idea is exactly that. Like, it's fucking crazy when you think about it, man. Like, it must be really hard. Like, and I'm not saying this obviously to brag with my 341 friends, but it's like, I remember when I had like 0 subscribers, I put up the first video. I was like so happy when it got 1 view. You know what I mean? I was like, what if no one finds this video? No, I was so happy that it even got 1 view, motherfucks. And then eventually I got like 1 subscriber and I was like, fuck, it was like the Red X or something like that. I hope you're still around, Red X. I haven't seen you in the comments. But it's like I was so proud of myself. I was like, man, I got one guy who wants to actually listen to me, you know? And then like when the growth was so slow, the first goal was 5 subscribers in my head and then 10 subscribers. And then like when I got to 10, I was like, man, I would check like not every day probably, right? I would check, I'd be like, oh man, shit, I have 11 subscribers, you know? And I would talk about it in my videos until J-Rance hooked me up. And then like, I couldn't even believe it, motherfuckers. I couldn't even believe it, man. Like, I was like, I had like 17 subscribers. And then I checked my YouTube. I was lucky because I checked it as like people were joining. And I'm like, oh, what, 22? Like, I got 5 subscribers within like this day. And And then I checked, I was like, this must be some sort of like weird coincidence, right? And I checked 20 minutes later and there's like 20 more. I'm like, nah, this is obviously some sort of trick, you know? So it's just, it must be crazy, you know? Like I'm sure a lot of people wonder about starting a YouTube channel, you know? And again, obviously I'm a novice. I've only been at this for a few months, but it's pretty crazy to think about like how hard it must really be. Like if you don't have a J-Rant or someone to help you out, like someone to plug you, how hard it must be to even get to like 30 or 40 subscribers on your own. You know, it's like who the fuck's gonna see it, right? That's why I tell you motherfuckers to like my videos so people can see it, so we can grow this community, because I have plans, motherfuckers. I have plans for this community. There are people that I want to find, because I keep hearing I'm not really into the IWC or whatever the fuck it's called now, right? But I need to find people that I disagree with, and I need to bury those motherfuckers, because our voice must be heard. We are the ones that are right, and all those motherfuckers are wrong. So anyways, thanks for tuning in, cucks. If you haven't, subscribe, like, share, whatever. Hit the bell icon, stick it up your own ass, whatever it is that you do on YouTube up in this bitch. All right, motherfuckers, I'll see you guys soon, bitches.